Inspiring voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.
Welcome to the Autistic Delicatessen.
I think of cooking as an art.
There's nothing most Hispanics love more than a nice little empanada.
Lo que comas, lo que bebas, es tu historia.
This is literally a hug in a bowl.
What's on your plate is how we relate.
Happy New Year, folks, and welcome to a new edition of the Autistic Delicatessen. I'm your host, Larrnell, along with Shalise, Nikko, and Melissa. And Melissa and Shalise are away on this episode, but filling in is our guest co-host, Rachel Ann Harden, a talented storyteller who also is the host of the Zoom concerts called Stories with Spirit, as well as you can check out her podcast, Story Podcast, at storystorypodcast.com. Check out all the past episodes of the stories that her and her host have done. So, Rachel Ann, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So, Rachel, please tell the good people who's our guest for today.
We are so excited. Today's guest is the singer-songwriter Candi Carpenter. They are 6,665-year-old extraterrestrial vampire witch whose music is an auditory potion with ingredients of purposeful chaos and a sprinkle of pink. They are like the sexy therapist or confessional priest who's heard the trauma of this generation is now breaking the patient-client confidentiality by singing about it with the sweetest badass clarity. They would make a deal with the devil, but the devil's going to have to get in line with all the other minor deities that would be interested in having a conversation with them. They have quite a few tour dates lined up, but we are really excited they could take time to talk with us. Candi, welcome to the Autistic Delicatessen.
That intro was the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. Thank you so much.
That was a crazy intro, as a matter of fact.
My jaw was on the ground the whole time. Thank you. I've never felt so cool in my life.
Every word is true. I was listening to your music and being like, how do I capture this in words? Your music was so fun to dive into. And like I listened to the first time, like, this is cool. This is good. And then went to the next one, like, I like this one too. I like that. What's next? It was so fun listening to your music.
Thank you. That means so much to hear. And I think it really depends on your mood. I think sometimes it's not fun for folks to listen to because so much of it's about trauma. But I wanted to, to take the pain and the chaotic things that happened to me and transmute them into something beautiful and healing to share with others. That is my mission, is to help other folks heal and to help myself continue to heal too.
That's incredible work.
Candi, since you're in Nashville, Tennessee, like, do you have any favorite eateries when you're not recording or like doing your music out live or anything like that? Do you have a favorite place that you like to go?
I love food. And one thing you need to know about Nashville is that macaroni and cheese is considered a vegetable here in our city. And as an autistic person, I truly appreciate that. Macaroni and cheese is probably my safest safe food other than pizza. And for pizza, I like to go to Slim and Husky's and 5 Points Pizza. My cat is biting my foot right now and it's really distracting me. This is Edith. And it hurts.
My cat does the same thing sometimes. She was just biting my hand earlier.
If I stop paying attention to her for more than a minute, she just throws a giant fit and attacks me. So,
Oh my gosh.
Edith.
That happens.
She's still a kitten. She's still a baby.
Okay, sure,
so, what were the name of the pizza places again? Because I feel like adding those to my list when I go on a road trip again.
100%. 5 Points Pizza and Slim and Husky's are, I think. Oh, and then there's Emmy Squared for like Detroit style deep dish.
Oh, you're speaking my language.
He likes Detroit style, actually. Yeah.
I have loyalty accounts basically everywhere. I love those places. Slim and Husky's has these dipping sauces for your pizza.
Nice.
And oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Don't let me with a good time.
They make cinnamon rolls too.
Oh, cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We should go to Nashville now.
I'm already just thinking about it.
Yes. So, Rachel Ann, do you have any favorite pizzas yourself?
Well, okay, so my kind of new obsession is trying to figure out how to make good pizza at home.
Ooh.
And now I want a pizza stone and like one of those large paddle things. But Yeah, I'm like, there's got to be a better name than the large paddle thing because that says a lot. But I'm curious about favorite toppings. You know, like Candy, what are your go-to toppings, and what are your I'm adventurous toppings?
I'm sort of a vegetarian. Flexitarian is the best term I've heard for it. I'll occasionally eat fish, but I love pepperoni so much. And it's kind of the only place I make a sweeping exception to my vegetarian slash pescatarian lifestyle. I will always eat a piece of pepperoni. I can't pass it up. And if it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and maybe I've had a little bit of tequila, I will eat a pepperoni pizza. I'll eat a large pepperoni pizza by myself.
I did that once.
I actually made a cream sauce pizza last night
Cream sauce.
with,
Cream
Explain
sauce, okay.
I really like to cook, and I made portobello mushroom and caramelized onion pizza, flatbread pizza, with a sauce, a cream sauce that had Gouda and mustard in it, which sounds weird together, but it was actually so good that my partner was basically licking his plate.
Ooh.
Nice.
That must have been some pizza if your partner's licking his plate on that. It's like
I would
really
not
good.
have thought to add mustard in that. You know, mustard feels like specifically for ham sandwich kind of thing.
It
But
does.
it sounds like it went over really well.
So there's this one pizza place I went to down in Queens, New York. Reminds me of something like that. Speaking of mustard, it's called Cuts and Slices. It's a black-owned pizza shop, and they do all these really, really different things with the New York style pizza. They would throw things like oxtail, stewed chicken on there. They even did a chopped cheese pizza where they chopped up burger bits and then threw on some ketchup and mayo on top of it and some cheese. It was so freaking good. Do you know what chopped cheese is, Candy, or no?
Oh, no, I don't.
Chopped cheese is like a delicacy up in like one of the boroughs of New York, specifically Harlem. It's a sandwich it's like a chopped up burger, and they throw on like ketchup, mayo, melted yellow American cheese, and then some lettuce, tomato, and grilled onions on a hero roll. It's so freaking good.
on a euro, yeah. Wow, on a euro.
Wow.
No, a hero roll, like a sub roll.
Oh, a hero roll. Okay, I thought you said euro. Sorry. Okay.
Hero.
Yes, hero.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be so hungry after this conversation.
You can thank me later.
Okay,
Nikko's a major foodie, and also you can follow him on Food on the Spectrum. Okay, so
I
he does
just
all
I
followed you on
will.
Instagram, as a matter of fact.
You
Yes.
followed me. I will go follow you right back. So there are a couple places when you come to visit me in Nashville that I'm going to have to take you for like a slightly fancier time.
fancier.
ev-
Okay.
Pretty much every year for my birthday, I go to this place called Husk. It's Chef Sean Brock's restaurant, I believe. I hope that's correct. I hope that we're not going to find out I was wrong about that. If I was, punch it in right here.
Please.
We go. And then
We all make mistakes.
Yeah, you
Oh, I
screenshot that. Yeah.
I will make a lot more over the course of this conversation, but it's like a southern cooking farm to table restaurant, and oh my god, it's so good. But what's crazy is this vegetable plate that they have, and every chef that works at the restaurant designs a different side dish every day, and it's like 5 different sides, and I always order it as my entree, and everyone else is jealous and wishes they had also done the same thing. And they have a
Oh.
pimento cheese appetizer that's nuts. And then where we'll go later, the next day, we'll go to the Optimist, which is a seafood restaurant. And I know what you're thinking, seafood in Nashville. So
Yeah.
valid.
Man. Yeah.
It's all flown in fresh, I guess, but they have this big platter of like lots of these dips, smoked fish dip and ahi tuna dip. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm eating half the time, but it's so good.
Wow.
Man.
It comes out on a big ice tray, and you feel like a fancy king or something
Fancy king,
when they
wow.
bring when they bring it out. I've got a picture of it. I will send you of what we got on my birthday this year because it was insane.
That sounds awesome. When was your birthday?
November 29th. I guess that was my birthday last year. Actually,
Oh.
gosh, she's at it again.
So there's a lot of these little farms around here, and there's like a totally different experience with food when you're like, I know where that came from, or that came from soil that I can understand. So I grow a lot of food, but then there's a lot of other places that have cheese and meats and things like that. And we recently, I'm sorry for the vegetarians in the crowd, but we wanted to think about where our meat came from and be mindful with it. And so we ended up getting some cow, and we went out to the farmer's farm. And they showed us around, and they had some very smelly goats. And it was just, it's incredible to be able to know where your food comes from and to be able to see that kind of thing. Do you grow? Are you a gardener at all? Or are you touring so much that you can't grow a garden or don't have the space to do it?
Oh, thanks. That's such a great question. I've been keeping this plant above my head alive, if you can see it.
Oh, that. Okay, so see that right there. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really proud of that. And my curtains are tucked up like that because my cat will climb them.
Wow. Okay.
I'm really making her sound like a nightmare, and she really isn't. She's just a kitten. And before I answer that, I do need to yell to my partner to come retrieve the kitten because she has been biting my toes the entire time we've been talking. And it's getting to be a lot. Hey, Alden, could you please remove Edith for the time being? Our little lovely daughter. Thank you.
How old is your daughter, just while he's coming to get her?
What is she, about 9 months now? Now around 9 months old. I don't think this biting phase will continue. I think she's learned that she'll get attention when she does. And that's all she wants is just, honestly, some wet food. So she should be a guest on the podcast. She really just wants a can of food, and she wants love and to play.
She's a little foodie too.
Yes, yes,
She is.
yes.
Sorry. So that's done. She's gone for now. So yeah, I would love to be a gardener. I would love as a witch to be able to grow my own herbs. I seem to have this issue though where I can't seem to weed out the lemon balm I planted in my herb garden maybe 6 years ago. It comes back every year and just destroys everything. But we have tried to grow peppers and tomatoes. I'd love to get more into it when we can really be home. I have an apple tree named Fiona Apple.
Fiona Apple. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you know who Fiona, if anybody, if you know who Fiona Apple is, yeah, that's the singer.
How about damn apples? I had to throw the joke in there.
You absolutely had to. And so far, I would love to say how about dumb apples to Fiona Apple, my apple tree, but she has only grown one apple that was about the size of this iPod case, just this tiny little apple. It was good, but I fear she's struggling out there. Yeah. I can't say my thumb is the greenest, even though I wish it were.
Yeah, I mean, lemon balm is notoriously aggressive. Any kind of balm or mint or anything like that, they will take over everything.
Well, if anyone ever needs any lemon balm, I can hook you up. I have so much of it. We also, you know what we do grow though, and we have to, having 3 cats, we grow catnip.
Catnip. Okay.
Do they love it?
You might be ideas.
Yeah. You're making Nikko jealous now, Candi. Really, it's just like,
listen, because no, I love my cats, Boots and Scout. Well, Boots is actually Scout's mom. Here's how I actually got those 2 cats. My dad and my uncle were actually walking down a trail. This was like a few days before the hurricane came, and then as they were walking, they ran into Boots and Scout running around. In a little hello. She jumped into the conversation. She wants to hear the story. So as they were going, they're like, if we come back and they're following us, then we'll take them. Lo and behold, Boots and Scout were sitting right next to my dad's truck waiting to get picked up.
Really? Okay.
I mean, look at these eyes.
You
can't tell me. Yeah, you can't tell me you wouldn't look at these eyes and think I'm not taking this kitty.
I've never looked at a cat and not thought that. That's how I got 3.
Yes.
And now Boots just gave birth to 4 little kittens.
4. Wow. Okay. That's
5 originally, but the 4th one unfortunately didn't make it.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Sorry to hear that.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
It's okay. The other 4 are doing very well though.
Okay, yeah. And now I just got to transition right now. So Candi, you recently came out with your project Demonology. I think in a past interview, because I first knew about your stuff from Evangelical-ish, and you mentioned how that your project was like an exorcism of your life. Do you want to explain more on that with the project?
I'd love to. It's an exorcism of my personal demons. And I grew up the child of a Christian Missionary Alliance pastor. We had a family gospel band called, get this, the Carpenters.
But it's the Carpenters with a apostrophe S, Rachel Ann.
You got
Okay.
it. We belonged, quote unquote, we belonged to the Carpenter. My parents changed the name of the band when I joined. Before that, it was called Heaven Sent. And we toured the Midwest and played all these shows. And one particular show in Ohio we opened for a self-proclaimed exorcist. And this guy got up and started talking about, but these are not my views. This is what he said, that, quote, all mental illness was the work of demonic possession. And as a kid sitting there,
That's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
As
I
a
was
Christian, I find that very offensive when people say something like that.
100%. I mean, it, and what's dangerous too about that is like I was a little child taking that in and believing that everything that the adults around me were saying was true. And I knew there was something different about me. I didn't know it was autism and ADHD and OCD. I didn't know what it was, but I started believing that I was possessed by demons from that day forward. And at night, we had Ask Jeeves back then, and I would get on Ask Jeeves and I would
Remember
ask
actually,
Jeeves, yeah, and I would be like, "Hey Jeeves, how do you perform an exorcism on yourself?" And it was like oil and prayer. So my mom didn't have olive oil in the house. It was the 90s. We had vegetable oil, we had canola oil. I don't know if that was really a 90s thing to not have olive oil, but I don't think it was so trendy then. And I blessed a bottle of my mom's canola oil and started rubbing it all over myself, and that's how I got acne. And I would pray that, God would expel the demon from my body, and nothing changed because I wasn't possessed.
Yeah.
And this went on. It was really what a scrupulosity that religious OCD developed. And I've worked on that a lot. And writing Demonology was, for me, an exercise in healing that part of myself. And coming out to my family as non-binary and ex-evangelical and queer and all of the things that make me myself, because I'd still been hiding them and shame from my parents. And I'm like, I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm very proud of who I am and the work it took to get here. What is this shame? I need to unpack it because I don't think this shame has anything to do with me. And it didn't. And I feel like, you know, learning to be myself was, especially as an autistic person who didn't realize they were masking because I was late diagnosed, like learning to be myself has been my life's greatest project. And I'll never go back, and I'll never change for anybody.
That's amazing.
I love that, especially because
Thanks, Nikko.
as someone who was like early diagnosed,
Same here.
I just look at all the people that are getting like late diagnosis, especially with like ADHD, because people back then were only believed that ADHD would only affect boys, and I, for one, had always believed that was bullcrap.
I've been processing this really, like, demonology. Writing demonology was part of that processing as well in real time, because when I wrote nervous system, I didn't know I was autistic yet. Wrote it right before my diagnosis. And what's funny is I thought I was just writing a super relatable song that everybody would be like, yeah, this is how I actually feel. And I post it in the online TikTok autistic community. By this point, by the time I released the song, I knew. But they were like, this is an autism anthem. And I'm like, yeah, it is, because I was just writing the truth about my life. Okay. All right. There's some more confirmation. But, like, my dad has recently discovered that he's autistic. And when he was growing up, that information wasn't really available for him, for his generation, for the way that he experiences autism. And I think this is just my own theory, but to me, it kind of explains the legalism I grew up with. In our family's interpretation of religion and the type of pastor my father was. I think he was so legalistic because he was so rule oriented, and I think the Bible was his special interest, and he was really passionate about it. So to me, it explains so much about my family, and everything that happened, and it's allowed for a lot of healing for all of us. And we've been able to find some common ground since then.
Yeah, there was a song that particularly stuck out for you, Rachel Ann, that was called "Cult." Do you want to just like elaborate on that, a little bit to Candi, if you can?
Yeah, that one landed for me in such a big way. Like that one. So I was raised Mormon, pretty strict Mormon until I was about 16 and I left home and haven't, gone back kind of thing. But it's there, those religious messages get so ingrained. But I loved that specific song. There's that song. And then the other one was, I just talked about Everybody Goes to Hell. I love that song too. Yeah, that one, those two, and Colt. It's so interesting. So I have an 18-month-old now, and I'm watching him grow up and feeling like this is the environment he's growing up in, and he's going to have to decide when he gets older what makes sense to him from an adult perspective. And that reflection of leaving childhood, really, like, I think that analogy between the two of leaving a cult, because there's that feeling of wanting to go back to a place that seemed to make sense at the time and feel that safety, but realizing that it was pretty crazy. It was actually super unhealthy and didn't make sense, but you survive as a child into it. I really found that a great song.
I love that your child is going to grow up in an environment where he gets to decide who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all I ever wanted. I just wanted to be accepted for who I was. And I've only recently, as an adult, gotten to the point where I won't accept anyone in my life who wants to change me. And when I feel that in my body, when I feel that someone is trying to control any aspect of me, I just peace out immediately now. But it takes so long to get to the point where you love yourself enough to reject that kind of energy. And it's because if you grow up in that controlling environment, it's what feels familiar and feels like home. I cannot wait for you to hear this song that's going to be on my second album called Fast Food. I wish it was done because it's the most appropriate song for this podcast. It's about growing up in the Midwest and Midwestern food. It talks about McDonald's and Burger King and Arby's and Wendy's and Doritos and Mountain Dew, and just like how those chain restaurants and prepackaged foods kind of shaped a Midwestern kid's experience. And they say you are what you eat, but you're so much more than that. It's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. And it's about leaving the church, and it's about evangelicalism and the way things are now. That is a song. I will send it to you all so you can hear it. I have a demo of it. The demo sucks, but yeah, please don't play it yet. But I want you to hear it since you appreciate food and evangelical stuff.
I'd love to hear it. I mean, one of the questions, have your parents heard your music?
They promised me they were never going to listen to it. And I know that did not happen because I was in the car with my mom and dad maybe 6 months ago, and we were just driving down the street, and Strawberry Starburst popped on the airplay in the car. And I'm going, so of all the songs on my album, my mom is jamming out to my bisexual anthem about the hot pink Power Ranger Amy Jo Johnson. Okay, mom, interesting flex. But I don't know, like, I know my mom has. I was just with them in Florida because my mom, unfortunately, is not doing well. She had a couple of strokes. She's not in the best health. It's been really devastating to walk through with them. But I was so stressed. Like, I'll find myself still sort of censoring myself around my parents and not swearing around them, even though I know they know I swear. I know they know I am who I am because they came to my wedding at Stonehenge where we had a pagan hand fasting ceremony. Like, I know they know, but I just avoid it with them because uh, it's an uphill battle. I can't believe we've gotten to the point we're at right now
That's understandable, yeah.
where I'm allowed to show up with tattoos like this, and no one panics. I don't know. Like, I know my aunts have heard it because my Aunt Carolyn was just mildly trying to witness to me on the phone the other day, which was funny. But I think they're proud of me because I'm doing well emotionally. Like, it's hard to look at the life I've been building for myself, just in terms of success in relationships. That's to me the only measure of success is who you have in your life, and it's hard for them to look at that and say that I haven't done well for myself. So I don't know. I just avoid it. I'd love to be more direct with them. I would love to be able to really, really share my music. I'm excited about something. I can't show them, but they're on their own journey, and I love them.
Mm-hmm.
If people want to know more about the tour dates that you're going to be going on tour with Z Machine and Kaylee Shore, make sure you go on to candicarpenter.com. That's where you can find all the tour dates. You know, of course, Candi will not be coming to Florida or Colorado.
Well, not yet.
I looked, and you weren't coming to Colorado.
I also
Let me know when you're on tour in Orlando, Candi. I want to take you to this one place that you might like. It's they used to be a pop-up back in 2019, but ever since then they had a little window, a little brick and mortar at this brewery. It's called Black Magic Pizza, and they specialize in Neapolitan style pizza, and it looks phenomenal, as a matter of fact.
Like
I'm posting a video about it today.
Yes,
I can't wait.
Yes, he was saying like Neapolitan style pizza. That's what
Neo-Napolitan, yeah.
Neapolitan, okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I can't wait to try it. I also want to say Jenna DeVries is going to be on tour with us too. She's amazing. This is just the first run of 2025. My sister-in-law lives in Denver. I know we'll be doing a show in Denver this year. I know we'll be back in Florida because my in-laws live there, which is why we did the little Safety Harbor acoustic show. We were already down in the area for the holidays. I played one of my biggest shows ever in Orlando, opening for Rainbow Kitten Surprise at the Hard Rock in Orlando. So I know we'll be back there too, booking a lot more shows for the year because I'm about to release a whole new album and I'll have to tour that.
Yeah, definitely. And we can't wait for that, though. If you want to check out more of Candi's stuff, just go on to candicarpenter.com. Check out their social media stuff. Check out their videos because their videos are very interesting. Thank you so much for coming on to the Autistic Delicatessen and just telling us about your story, telling us about your music, telling about your food and good eateries in Nashville, Tennessee, though. So, definitely, we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. And I want to invite everybody to my Discord community, the Candyland Discord community. Larrnell is a member. Larrnell and I, when we met in Safety Harbor, we talked for about an hour after the show. We had so much in common. The community is just full of the most wonderful people you'll ever meet. And we do have a very poppin' food channel.
Ooh.
I love that. What's the food channel called?
Food?
Yeah, it's just food on Discord. That's all it is, you know. So
I thought it was like an actual blog channel. I didn't know.
But you can post food and you can blog about it. That's what it basically is. That's what basically they're trying to say, Nikko.
Oh yeah. I guess I'll be more than happy to post about that.
I was trying to remember the name of it, and I realized I think it's just called Food. So
yeah, it's just called Food. Yeah, Food. Yeah, food. Yeah, definitely. And you can actually download the Discord app on your phone, you know, if you have like iPhones or Androids or whatever. So definitely. But anyway, Candi, thank you so much for coming on, okay?
Thanks for having me. Great to meet you all. Great to see you again, Larrnell.
Thanks for watching or listening to the Autistic Delicatessen. Like and subscribe on YouTube for updates on when a new episode comes out, and be sure to watch past episodes on the Autistic Delicatessen YouTube channel as well. Listen to current and past audio podcast episodes on Spotify or at the Ampliverse website. Be sure to follow the show on Instagram by searching The Autistic Delicatessen. And until next time, what's on your plate is how we relate.